Hey now, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am SimpleJack from Nation 30. Today marks the beginning of a new Global Conquest season, and we're just going to talk about how things went today, go through the room. Everybody got their rounds behind them. Before we get this started, let me introduce everybody. From World 524, Matty D. World 285, we've got Lumberg. World 425, we've got Kitchy, and we've got a couple others joining in a little bit. Interesting. GC started. Great to kind of get back into the swing of things. To be honest with you, I was kind of hoping for a couple of more weeks off. It was kind of nice having that free weekend, but now that it's kind of started, I'm really getting prepared and getting the nation prepared. So one of the things that I noticed, and I don't know if you guys noticed this too, but the first round, at least for us for the last 3 seasons, have really felt kind of like a semifinal kind of round because the worlds that we face, they're pretty tough. So we faced World 151, which is a strong world, and World 209, which is a strong world, and 269. So we knew that we were in for some serious fighting, but ultimately our player flexibility and our experience really kind of helped us, and we were able to work through everything and get a victory. But anyways, so Lumberg, tell me about your GC. I'm curious to know because you guys just merged and wanted to see how you guys work together.
Sure. Thanks, Jack. So we had a really good first round. So this was a really good bonding experience for a newly merged nation, right? So you kind of need a common enemy and not each other after a merge. So I think this really helped kind of put everybody together. Probably the first time that we struggled where people didn't have space to enter, right? So it's a newly merged nation. There's a lot of interest. So we had to set some rules around who can enter when. Our opponents, fought pretty hard. It was World 99, 175, and 242. 242, poor guys. I mean, they have only been merged once. Us, as well as 99 and 175, was merged twice. So you can see it in just the number of participants. It's just kind of unfair. Similar to how you have in your nation, like 269, they're only merged once, so they're going to have a very hard time competing. It was a really good round. We did win. We crushed it, but we did spend a lot of speeds and items to kind of get there. The score looks better for us than it really was. They were good competitors.
Yeah, I see that. So you guys through 3 rounds at 117,000. That's pretty good. What was your breakup like? Did you guys max 2 rounds and then struggle in a third?
No, we maxed the third round, and we won all 3 rounds. But second was our lowest. So I think we had 39 in the first, 32 in the second, and 45 in the third. So we had pretty even participation in all 3.
Cool, very cool. All right, 524. Let's hear about it.
It was a learning experience for us. We kind of our goal during this was to we were against one Chinese merged nation 575, and our goal was to completely shut them out because they are strong, and we were just playing around. We did one first round. We capped out at 45,000. Second round we didn't really show up. We got about 8,500. Third round we capped out again at 45,000. But the best part of it is in round 1 we kept 575 to 540 points, and in round 3 we kept them to 1,000. They did score 42,000 in round 2, but we didn't have all strong players there.
Yeah, so these worlds that are locked, the nations are locked. I always hear that they're super strong. Did that not happen? And is that not the case with those guys?
Well, they were super. The reason why they're super strong is because they merge before everybody else. Once, the other non-Chinese locked nations get merged, it's more of an even playing field. So, we just really wanted to stick it to them because they've been doing it to us for the last year and a half.
Wow. Did they kind of play with experience, or did they show some inexperience, and that's why they kind of didn't do that well?
I mean, we just sent nonstop everything we had. We did not let them breathe. Like I said, we in the first round we kept them to 540 total points. Third round, 1,000 points.
Yeah, so you guys stifled them from the get-go. That's good.
And it was a fantastic feeling. And this isn't even a Chinese merged nation that I really have a grudge against. But, they were there, so why not?
Yeah. All right, Kitchy, 425, how'd it go? Yep, Kitchy.
She's napping.
Yeah, she's taking a nap.
Hey, I'm not napping.
So how was
How did it go?
425?
So 425, we had first and third round capped at 45. And
Nice.
then our second round was 42,370. So
you
we
guys
won all 3
dominated.
rounds.
Who did you guys play against?
Yes. We played against the 333, 443, 393, 443, and 466. But they had, most of them had probably between 100 to maxing to 165 participants, while 425 had between 180 to 250.
That's
So
interesting.
numbers wise, we were there. And it's probably because we're hungrier than them. We want GC, especially with our last GC losing to 405. So we really want it badly. So we're trying to do our best this GC.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's too bad Nikki and Woody aren't here because, well, Himiko apparently just joined 52 as well, but I would really wanted to
Sure.
hear about 52's void against, or excuse me, their GC against 219, because it looked like the first 2 rounds were close, like they were just kind of going back and forth, but it looked like they dominated in the third round. So congrats to 52 on their victory. But I was really expecting a lot more from 219, so I'm interested to see how that played out. It's too bad. Hopefully, one of those guys can join us soon. From 52.
Yeah, I've seen snippets of conversation between 52 and 219 in another Discord chat room, but I'll leave it up to them to discuss what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our world, we were going against 151 and 209, which we saw as very strong worlds, and we changed our strategy completely. The way we used to do it last season was a particular way, and this way we concentrated everyone into 2 rounds at the end. And so our first round was the most vulnerable, but the weirdest thing happened. Well, and this is every nation is going to, or every GC, you're going to have opponents like this. Like 151, from what I understand, is in a civil war. So that probably really hurt their chances. It seems like they couldn't get enough traction or cohesiveness with their teams to really make a formidable attack, because we, the first round we completely expected to lose it and just make it up in the last 2 rounds, but our alliance pot did an extremely good job of facing 209 and 151 and winning that round. So it was a good way to start off, and it really snowballed in rounds 2 and 3 to where we were able to dominate. But those two, and this goes back to what I was saying before, where it's really weird, where it feels like it's a semifinal round with those 2 worlds, and typically they should be like softball type opponents, but it wasn't. But I think ultimately in the end, our experience and our flexibility really showed and really allowed us to win. So that's kind of a tip for other worlds out there. Your leaders really need to come together. They really need to discuss and move players around, because if you try to stick to one alliance or stick to your alliance and you don't get that flexibility to fill those alliances that are going to fight in GC, you're really hampering your chances to win. So flexibility is key, and the experience too. So World 151, we were really scratching our heads at how they were sending, and it just didn't make sense. Their attacks weren't very precise, so they were taking heavy losses, and you could kind of tell because they kind of gave up pretty quick. So again, it boils down to having the leaders make sure that they command and make those attacks precise, so you minimize. Well, number one, you optimize your chance to win, and number two, you minimize your losses, because if you take a lot of losses, not a lot of worlds can heal all the time. So definitely something to think about. Did you experience any of that, Lumberg, with your opponents?
You brought up a very good point, which I was going to ask a question on, which
Sure.
is, is the preliminaries too early to move players around? It's clear there's a huge advantage of having, more active fighters in the fight in the same alliance. Usually in preliminaries, you can kind of coast through without doing that. So I was impressed and surprised that World 30 did move around players. Did you guys move a lot? And one more thing that I've heard people say, but I don't think we've done effectively, is that if you run out of troops, can you exit the arena and allow somebody to enter? So those are the two things that I thought was worth talking about. If you have that problem, some worlds don't have 250 people that actually log in.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely like to coast in the early rounds. Typically, we don't move anyone until we start getting to the semifinals. But for whatever reason, the last 3 seasons we faced, like I think last year we faced World 2 right off the bat, and they're a heavy hitter, so we couldn't just coast on these. We had to game plan for them. So with this GC against 151 and 209, we went against the grain about coasting, and we did trade out a lot of players. And this is, words to all the other worlds out there. Just get your leaders in a room, decide who's going to go, which alliances can go, and who's going to move around, so that you can fill all of your alliances that will be in that round. So we typically only had 3 alliances per round, and if for whatever reason we still had less than 250 people, then we would announce in GC that academies and other alliances could join, but only then. And you definitely, to your other question, whenever people expend all their troops, just say bye, exit, and then bring somebody else in. I mean, that's kind of a given. I mean, you really, especially in the later rounds, you really need to do that. We did it for this one because we really felt that it was going to be stiff competition, but didn't turn out to be that way.
Well, I would say in the 500s, it's pretty much coasting in the preliminaries. It's very easy to make it to the semifinals just because, some worlds are just way stronger than others. And, so we didn't move anybody around. We didn't have any game plan for this first round. We just went in and said, let's just keep the Chinese down. And that's what we did. But I do have a question. I noticed there's 32 teams that are in the prelims, and then it drops down to 16 in the semis. Did that number change?
I don't think it did. Let me see.
No.
Yes, it did change.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking
did.
It starts off last season. It started off with 20 teams.
Right.
So you had a much easier chance to qualify to the semis, right? So
Right.
the 16 doesn't change. Sorry if I misunderstood the question. But the starting number, it moves from 32, sometimes 24, sometimes 20. And so this time it's going to be harder to qualify because there's 32 teams in each group.
Yes. So basically the top 50% are going to make it to the semis. So you really should put a little bit more focus on the preliminaries this time.
Exactly. Last time you could, almost not worry about, almost 2 matches and still qualify as long as you won once because it's just a bottom 4. You don't want to be in the bottom 4. This time you really have to pay attention. So that's right.
Hang on a second. Let me share my screen with you guys because I want to ask you a question. Oh, shit. I can't. You can see the live. I've got.
While you're pulling that,
Go ahead.
I haven't had a chance to finish my GC spreadsheet. I've been a little bit busy with the merger, but once I finish that, see, the good thing about this GC is unless Camel makes a kind of modification in the logic, they pretty much follow the same pattern. So I don't have to do a whole lot of work. I can take my GC season 7 spreadsheet, type in the worlds, and tell you exactly who's going to be your opponents for next round. I just haven't had a chance to do that. I did it for our nation and the next group after that, but I will plan to do it for the other one. So it's not 90% sure, but it's not guaranteed, but I feel 90% confident that I can predict who your opponents are going to be for round 2 and 3.
Good. So let me ask you this. Let me know if you can see my screen because I've got kind of the point totals with 285 up in second place. So what you're saying is the top 50, the top 50% are going to move on. So you could conceivably take a loss and still move on to the next round as so long as you score enough points to be top 16.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So I'm looking here.
But what happened before is that see how now the top 16 is just first and second place, right? So 10 and 7 is what you get for first and second place respectively.
Yeah.
So this means that if any of those top 16 nations, don't lose again or place second, anybody that's below really needs to have at least a second and a top finish to kind of qualify.
Okay, that's interesting. That's kind of good to know too, because you never know if you're going to lose. But so point totals is always important. So for those worlds that kind of say, "Oh, we already won, don't worry about the points," then that makes it even more important to make sure, even though you have the victory, you still want to score as many points as possible just in case. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
And I'm guessing. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Matty.
Scroll down a little bit to your 16 and 17. So, I mean, really, if you're looking at that, if you score more than 30,000 points across 3 rounds, you're gonna make it. So it's very easy to do still, because you've got nations that are just not very strong.
So then, well, here's the next question, because look at number 17. They've got 55,000 points. So,
okay, never mind. Scratch that. What is going on?
No, yeah. So let me explain that really quick. So
sure.
The ranking of this, and sorry if I nerd out. GC is my thing, right? So bear with me or tell me to shut up if I go on and on. So first place gets 10 points, right? So the priority is on points. So if you have 20,000, let's say if you have 7 points, it doesn't matter how many GC conquest points you have. The season points, which is the first number, is going to be the primary sorting number. And then after that, it's like, okay, if 2 people have both first place, they'll get 10. Second place gets 7. Third place, and this is where it gets really interesting and you have to be very careful. Both third place and fourth place get 5 season points, which is the first number.
Yeah. So,
that's where you're, if you are one of the unlucky ones where you're vying for that second place, you really have to keep in mind that, there's no difference between third and fourth, but you do get the GC points, but that, the most important criteria is to hit second or first. You need to hit those. Third, there's no difference. You get no points for third, other than, if you tie with someone, you're going to come ahead with the GC points.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So it's kind of a 2-point scoring system where the main number, the 10, 7, 5, and 5 are the biggest differentiator, and then I guess the Global Conquest points are kind of a tiebreaker.
So
That's exactly right.
Is it safe to say in most cases that if you win one first place, that, I mean, you're probably going to make that top 16 with this many teams? What one first place per, every 2 weeks?
So you're basically saying if you win the first and you come last in the second and third one, you have 20 points. Is 20 points enough to get you qualified? I want to say yes, but let me just double check.
I think that makes a difference in how people think about it. They could just, in the prelims, just really go hard on one round. But then again, if a lot of teams do it and they go hard on different rounds, then it kind of washes.
Then does that mean that the Global Conquest points then kick in? Like
Correct.
what Track pointed out, yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at 1, 2, and 3, they all have, well, the top 8 all have 10 points. So from there, they're ranked from their total points.
So, and this might get into Lundberg's formula, but I'm assuming round 2 is going to seed each opponent by way of, their total points and their conquest points. So, like, take, for instance, 273, in my opinion, should get the easiest draw for second round. Is that how it works, Lundberg? He might still be.
Or is it still
extent,
random?
It's not exactly random. That one's a little bit harder to predict how they do it. So I think there is also an algorithm to that. So in some ways, it's not like the March Madness ranking system. It's more of, putting the worlds in order and kind of doing through a sort number. So there is an element to, yes, if you place high, you should get a good matchup. But sometimes that's hard to predict. Like you end up getting a bad matchup based on, some worlds may be underperforming. So that one, there is a logic to it, but I'm not good at predicting that.
Okay.
So just based on what you know, does it make the most sense to be the 1 through 4 seed?
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt, yes.
Hey guys, we just
yes, I just did confirm that, if I looked at the last time we had 32 teams, the teams that scored about 19 made it through to the next round. So if you win one of those rounds, there's a high chance that even if you don't even bother with the other 2, that you might qualify. But if you don't bother, you might, be eliminated in the next round when you face one of those 1 seed. So you still should attempt to, you can qualify, but that's not the end game. You don't want to be stuck with a crazy nation.
Hey guys, let's pause real quick because we got Nikki that just joined us. I really want to hear about 52's GC. Can you tell us how that went?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, hey, I'm in the car. Sorry. The GC went fine. We won. 219 was not pushing, so it was just an easy round.
What?
Unexpectedly.
Why didn't 219 push?
If I am understanding correctly, GC is not their priority, which is understandable. Everybody has their priority type of events. Like we prioritize Void and Light War or in other events. And GC is probably not something they prioritize.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had our frenzy with them, and I kind of wanted, since we saw we had GC with them, I thought, it was another another intense battle against them, but unfortunately, no, they don't care about GC, so it's okay, it's fine. We go to the next round.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think 219 won the first round. Was ED1 out of it? Not in first round or something? Is that what happened?
Round two. We were not focused on round two.
Oh, okay. I knew that there was one round where 219 maxed out, so I assumed that ED1 just didn't. That was the round that they chose not to go.
Yeah.
So then your nation does it as well, and I think most nations do this anyway.
I mean, we only did it because I'd rather not lose against them again. It was more like I don't want to lose to them in case if they do push, you know.
Yeah.
Because we already went through this, so I don't want to go through that again. Better be safe than sorry.
So this brings me to Lumberg. So Lumberg, 219, I consider like a really strong nation, and it sounded like they just kind of really didn't put much effort into it. So they're sitting at number 12. From your formulas, they could still conceivably make it to the finals, correct?
Yeah, 219 probably doesn't prioritize it, but they are still strong enough to qualify decently without even trying. So, and then maybe more of a, coping mechanism to say, we don't care about this. That's why we're not winning. I think they care.
Well, and that was kind of our logic too. We want to win, obviously, but we know it's the prelims. We know that we're strong enough to qualify, so we're like, let's just kill some players and screw some of the towers.
All right.
I mean, I still think they have a chance to reach semi. I mean, for now, it's all about points, so they can still rank up if they get an easier, like, doesn't matter easier or hard, they can still rank up if they push.
Yeah, so would it make sense for 219 to try to push into that 4 or 5 through 8 bracket where they are?
I mean, if they want to reach semi, that's their decision. Sorry, that's their decision. If they don't care, then they wouldn't. They can just save up for other events that they care about. It's just, it's whatever they want to do.
Well, I was asking Lumberg, like, logistically speaking, would it make sense for them to try to get 5 through 8 so they're kind of paired with 9 through 12?
It's hard to kind of sense that, but I'll just use common sense, right? So if you think about it, they definitely want to reach the semis or the next round because it's additional merit for all the players. It's and so if they really wanted to reach the semis, they can just ramp up the gear no matter who they face. So if you really think about it, this matchups, as Jack mentioned, it's a little bit random and the luck of who you get. Some of these matchups are hard enough to be a semifinal, right? You're going to play some of these same players again. So I think they're strategic in when they decide to give effort and when they don't. Meaning, all the other of us chumps are spending all of our speeds and effort, let's say, to rank 1 to 4. Then they're rank 16. They match with us. They spend a bunch of speeds and then just take it away, right? So there is some smartness to that thought process that, hey, we will just focus on it when it matters. And if they choose to, they can. If they don't choose to, they shouldn't. But regardless of how you think about it, everybody should care enough to reach the next round because it's good merit it's really good rewards for this event, which I think they're well positioned to do at second place. They can easily get there.
I mean, there's good rewards, but I think the sheer cost of what GC costs to the average player might not be worth some of the rewards. But that's this game in general sometimes.
Yeah, I remember somebody made a comment because that email you get about congratulations, here are your fine rewards. Everybody's like, yeah, fine rewards. Okay. So Lumberg, how many more rounds till the top 16 are determined?
Just 2 more. There's always 3.
Okay, so 2 more rounds, and then whoever ends up in the top 16 slots are the ones that are going to go forward. Yeah, I'm interested to hear your predictions because I really want to know who we're going to be facing next. Hopefully, we can coast for a while because that's the other thing too that Lumberg you mentioned is you do expend a lot of speed or resources to win sometimes, and it's a lot of alliances anticipate on kind of coasting a bit. So if you get a tough first round, like say 219 did, then maybe they do make that strategic decision to they're not going to beat 52, so they just kind of make sure they come in second, stay in the shadows, and then turn it on later, so they're not expending a lot. But luckily,
Yes,
with our
that's
world,
exactly right.
we haven't had that problem. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lumberg.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it does help to know who you're going to have, but you can't really predict that. So I have been wrong in this spreadsheet before if I ever finish it, but I did finish it for World 30. So do you want to hear who you have?
Yeah.
Take it with a grain of salt, but you have 157, 219, and 278 for the next round.
Speaking of 219, great.
Yep.
Now they get to turn it up against us. Okay,
And
so
then you have 163, 242, and 249 to finish up. So that looks like an easier matchup.
Okay, do me.
I haven't done the 500s yet.
All right, so you're saying 157, 219, and who was the third?
278.
I don't even see him. Oh, here.
They're not merged, so they're going to get. There's just no offense, but no contest for them. Yeah.
Okay. 157.
They're not merged. It's second time.
Have you done mine yet, Lum?
No, I did up to 376.
What about me?
I can tell you yours. You have 171, 242, and 286 for next round.
Ooh, we're gonna see chicken.
Is chicken back?
No, I think he's still on vacation.
Right.
Maybe.
Mm.
Wow.
Now there is no refunds if I'm wrong. So just
no,
keep that in mind.
Like you said, a grain of salt. Well, I appreciate that.
And then
insight.
Nikki, for the last, you have 175, 206, and 269.
Well, yeah, that would be easy for 52.
What was 52's last
Maybe
round?
it's PC.
Let's see. All right. It looks like we will have another semifinal.
30 and 219.
Yeah, that'll be
The
fun.
Union sticks strong.
So I'm gonna have to look at some tape from 52 and 219 to see what they did.
I mean, what we did. We had a TA.
Can you tell me more about how you successfully move players into 2 rounds and forego one, right? Because normally the GC times are difficult for people. It's on a Saturday, it's on a Friday night, and different depending on your time zone. So it's really hard to kind of make time for it, and then even as a nation to kind of push people to 2 times and forego 1. That's been a struggle. So tell me more about how you have made that successful. Because it does help, right? Instead of having 60 players in 3 different rounds, if you had 100 and 100, it's much better. But how do you actually make that with people in real lives and so on?
So yeah, that's a great question. So with World 30, we've kind of been through this a lot now. This is like our 8th season. So one of the first things that we do is we look at our opponents, right? If for whatever reason, like our strong opponents are heavy Asians, then we kind of game plan around that. We kind of surmise that they're going to go rounds 1 and 2. So we may shift the focus to 2 and 3, right? So that we kind of know that we get round 3 as a gimme. And then, and that's exactly what we did in this round here. So that we shifted 3 main alliances to go 2 and 3. And to your other point, that is difficult because you have to get buy-in from all of your alliances to say, look, whatever it is, if it's 3 a.m. for you, that's what it is. So you got to wake up and show up. So the other part is, luckily our world is hungry enough to where a lot of people want to play. So every GC, every alliance, you got a 10-minute check-in. I think a lot of alliances do this. If you're not there, you get booted, and then you open it up, and whoever wants to play just joins in. So that's how we shift a lot. And priority obviously is like, for instance, NX3 is the main, and then UKU, AUF, and POT are the other alliances. We would take those three secondary alliances to feed NX3, and then the academies to feed the other three, so that it makes sure that NX3 has like the strongest players for each round that they go. So that's kind of how we shift it.
Does that impact you guys in Elite War? I know you guys are like, always 1 or 2 or something like that. But does that impact you at all during that period? And the same with like Duel and Triangle?
Oh, yeah. So you, and we didn't get to do it this time, but you definitely always want to try to schedule light opponents during GC because you're going to be shifting, especially in the semifinals. So, we're not going to schedule, a top 5 team. Well, I take that back. We take anybody really because we never get challenged, and we, whoever is available, we always place them. But it is at top of mind that, yeah, it's definitely going to affect us. We'll have a big effect. Actually, let me look it up because we have an Elite Wars tomorrow, and we could conceivably lose because we did anticipate a big. So we're up against World 1 in Elite Wars tomorrow, but we anticipated this was going to be a very difficult round, so we did a lot of shifting. So I don't know what the number is. 30 players, maybe exited 20. I don't know, but we'll be short, and we could pay the price. But it, luckily, it's not too difficult to get back into the top ranking in Elite Wars. The biggest problem that we have is that we don't get challenged, so we don't get points. So.
Well, it must be lonely at the top.
No, I would much rather, and this is just my personal opinion, I would much rather play in the 100 to 50 range and use no speeds, get the same amount of merit, and just be done with it. Being in the top 10 uses speed all the time. I mean, pretty much all the time. If you're not using speed, then you're not in the top 10 is my guess. Like, wouldn't you say that, Nikki? With 81?
I may have to disagree. It depends who we are going up against.
Well, I mean, when you're facing a top 10 world, I mean, pretty much everybody in the top 10 is going to use speed when you face them, right?
Yeah. Like if you face top 10 people or top 15, then obviously they're gonna try to win against you, so they'll try to speed. But if you have total control of the center, they just give up. So it just depends who's your opponent.
Yeah. My guess, though, is that everybody that's in the top 10 is worth their salt. So they're gonna, they got there for a reason, and typically it's they're strong, number 1, and 2 they use speed, because speed, in my opinion, is the game changer for Elite Wars, because as soon as you take the battle onto their side, you're already halfway there.
Well, I think we're the first nation in the 500s that made top 50, so we're about to hit a wall.
All right, so back here. So, but the other parts of your question, yeah, there is some DoD and Triangle conflicts there, but the cooldown period for that's only like a day or 2, right?
Yeah.
3
3 days.
Isn't it 3 days?
thought it was a
I
day or
think
two.
it's
It's only 7
changed.
days.
I think no. I think it changed. It's
For
it's
Elite Wars, it's
different.
7 days, but DoD
Yeah, Elite
and
Wars is
Triangle.
7 days.
No, one's 3 days and one's 1 day. I think Triangle Wars is 3 and DoD is 1. I think.
Okay, maybe
not-
that's what it. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but one's 3 and one's 1. I don't know which one's 1.
I know 425 goes pretty hard in Duel and Triangle, but does 30 and 52 in your world number?
No, we don't. I mean, it just needs too much money.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's bragging
For
rights
us,
only.
it just depends with the opponents.
Yeah. Our last Triangle War, we just went hard because it was 457, and we've had them for Elite War, Battle Frenzy, Void. So it was like, oh, come on now, dude, just don't. And they're a
Yeah,
Chinese block nation as well, so
yeah. Aren't they all mid rangers there too?
yeah.
Yeah, so our leaders in World 30, they're versed enough to know the opponent, and they can just tell us whether we can use no items, meaning that the opponent is going to be a easy opponent, or if we need to go purple or gold or whatever the case may be. But we, in my opinion, DoD and Triangle, those are events for spenders to kind of showcase their spending. So, but
Agreed.
yeah, we
Triangle's
don't really.
the worst.
We've been fortunate enough to win a lot in these events, but I wouldn't say that we go super hard on them.
I will add that it is extremely, annoying that you have so many concurrent events, right? So if you really think about it, it forces you to prioritize, like, not just Elite War, but if you do care about, Global Conquest, you have to forego Elite War, you have to forego, DoD and all these concurrent events. There's just too many, right? And then of course there's Frenzy and Void and all of that's happening. So it does seem like it's, the whole GP event just seems like a little bit of overload without any kind of mindset or thought process to wait. What about all these other events? Just too much sometimes. People get fatigued.
Absolutely,
Well,
but GC's like the Super Bowl out of all the events. I mean, that's the big one.
Yeah, and now I think we're gonna have Iron Battlefield soon. So that's gonna be added to DoD and Triangle War. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for bringing
another-
that up.
Yeah.
So Iron Battlefield is a new event that
God.
Kitchy
Yeah,
is just mentioning. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so Iron, they're testing it in other nations. I'm not sure which nations they were very open about who they're testing it on. But yeah, it's like a mash between Chaos with DoD Triangle Wars, and it's in 3 phases as well.
Yeah, so it's basically Chaos Land, and then you can buy, Duel and Triangle like items. You're limited to entry with, I think, 2 million troops,
Yep.
but you can get troop packs and stuff. And it means like a C-34 could theoretically get T-12 EMPs if he gets lucky. So it sets everybody on the same playing field to an extent, but it's going to be the biggest spending event we've ever seen. Because of the nuke. There's a $99 nuke, and you instantly kill 33% of troops in a city.
Wow. So
And the whales will just nuke everybody because once you have like a preliminary round on one island, and then the highest ranking players move on to the next island and then the next island. And eventually you're just going to end up with an island full of whales that are nuking each other as fast as possible.
Yeah, so phase 1, you're allowed to nuke other nations. Phase 2, you're allowed to nuke your own nation. So until phase 3, it's basically just all whales, like Maddie said.
Well, no, that's phases. So each island has 3 phases.
Oh
One,
wow.
and then once that island is done, the top scoring players move on to the next island, and then that island's got 3 more phases. So it
Oh
whittles
good.
down more and more to the top level spenders, and the only way to get there, and as the phases go on, you cannot heal troops. So that means whoever kills the fastest wins.
So, real quick
So
question. You said that it's kind of like Chaos Land. Is this like real time battles in Chaos Land where you send troops, or is this like DoD and Triangle where it's kind of turn based, where you're just you
No,
look at the
it's real time.
no, it's
Oh
real
wow,
time.
wow, okay,
Yep. Mm. So technically, you're gonna have 9 phases, so 3 per island. Is that what
Correct.
you say, Maddie? Oh God.
Yeah,
Okay.
you start off on the green island, and then that whittles down to the blue island, and I think finally the red island. And
Ah, awesome.
I mean, in that red island, the spending on that guy is probably going to be $200,000. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be crazy.
wow.
Goodness
So,
me.
so from a monetary perspective, Camel is really incentivizing this whole nuke thing and spending as much as possible because you have to win as fast as possible because you can't heal your troops.
Wow. Yeah. So back to the original question about events and event schedules. So personally, I really feel like the event schedule is really too packed right now. So you've got your normal events that are what I consider like team building or gaining little gifts and stuff, so that your non-spenders can kind of get some stuff like Doom and Zombie Uprise, Elite Wars, that kind of stuff. And then you've got your main events: Battle Frenzy, Chaos Land, Void, GC, and then now you've got DoD and Triangle, and then the Iron Battlefield, whatever that is. It's really packing in to everyone's schedule to where you really don't have any kind of downtime. And I know that Camel's trying to uh, earn money, but I really think it's kind of killing the game a bit, because you're causing fatigue way too fast. But I mean, I'm sure they're looking at it from the perspective of what can the players absorb or what can they stand. But I've been playing for 4 years, and I really think it's a tight schedule. I mean, I think it's kind of turning some people off. But I'm
Well, yeah,
interested to
the spin, there's the multiplayer spin, and then as that's going on, it never ceases to fail that there's a individual spending event. You got Alliance Bounty, you've got the tower building, you've got the racing. I mean, every time you turn around, you've got individual crap to spend on, then you've got team crap to spend on, and it really makes you just kind of take a hard look. It's like, can I continue to play this at this level?
Yeah.
I mean, I just think people just need to learn how to prioritize, what has better rewards or what has better benefit. Like, not you don't have to spend on everything, I mean, I know there's people who want to spend on everything, but it's okay not to,
Yeah, but when something new and shiny comes out, oh my goodness. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. But like at the end of the day, it's your own decision. We're all adults here.
Yeah,
agreed.
but sometimes you
Mm.
wanna balance it out between wanting to actually spend for events and wanting to
Yeah.
spend to actually grow your city, because there are, like Maddie said, there are individual events where you can only get Titan skins from that lottery thing. You can get Titan skins for the girl in the racing one. So you want to do that for your city, but if you're going to prioritize, you're now at that scale of, am I prioritizing to grow my city, or am I prioritizing so I can actually attend
And
events?
ranking.
Yeah, and it's a delicate balance too, because
Exactly.
you spend all your money building your city, but you don't spend anything on consumables. That's a very boring game. If you
Yep.
spend too much on consumables and not enough into your city, well, then you're gonna die. So
yeah, you're not competitive enough. Exactly. So it's
That's a interesting point, and I think 285 and Lumberg's alliance kind of has a unique perspective in that realm because would you say, Lumberg, that your alliance is? I don't want to say they're not spenders, but they're more conscious about what they spend on, and do they participate in those kind of events?
Yeah, I have some strong thoughts about this, right? So I think it's thanks for asking that question. I think we have a good mix, right? So we have some people that are going to spend no matter what, and let's not kid around, like, right, having those players is an absolute boost to your alliance and nation because they do matter and they do go out and get kills, right? So somebody that is spending on both improving their city and the consumables, that person is an asset to that nation and alliance, and you can't do it without them. What I will say that we can do as alliance leaders and kind of, just as YouTubers, is to help put some perspective on this, like just like we talked about, right? Like you don't want to overdo one versus the other. But I think it's really important that you align as a nation and an alliance about what you're going to spend on and really hold those people accountable, right? So that because people are going to get frustrated, especially for the team events, that if they're doing it and nobody else is participating. So I think what we've focused on is that we've said we decided our order, right? So we care about Void the most. We don't care about Frenzy at all. That means we don't care if we lose, right? That's tough. That was hard with that mindset that other nations don't have. But that was necessary to balance. Otherwise, you're going to be left with people that want to be team players that can't, participate. And if you really think about it, I've tried this and I have pretty good. I mean, I stick to a budget. I cannot play Frenzy without spending once you get into it. Like, we're competitive. Camel knows this, right? So you have to really, at the onset, as an alliance, as a nation, really decide that we are not going to win this, right? Guys, we're not going to win this. We're not going to even try. That's the only way that you're going to prevent kind of that spending and then that peer pressure of spending. Because you have people that are good team players, they're going to chip in, right? So DOD, I mean, we had somebody that bought like everybody a purple item. I mean, just crazy, right? So that's or gold shield, right? So that's just money down the drain. So you really have to kind of help your players, especially the ones, because all of us that are in this game are some level of addicts, and we have to help each other.
So Lumberg, just curiosity, when you say you don't try to win in Frenzy, does that mean you don't even check shields or anything like that? You just say screw it?
No, we went away from that because that's not fair to somebody that's trying to compete, right? So our minimum thing is, get out of the way. Don't try to win it, but absolutely put a shield. Like, that's just not fair.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we actually went so far as to, and we don't 100% practice this, but if you do give up points, then you typically get burned after the event because, yeah, you don't lose troops, and typically if your nation's well ahead, then it doesn't really matter. But for the people that are really trying hard and spending money to try to win the event, it's just not fair to drop your shield and do that. So, but one thing I wanted to add or point out is, like, for me personally, all the fishing games and the Lucky Wheels and the racing games and stuff like that, I don't really do any of them. But I will say, like, if there's something that I want, like, for instance, I think it's the Lucky Spin or whatever, where I wanted the cinema or the movie theater or whatever it's called. And so I spent on that just till I got that. And then after that, I never did it. So that might be something that most players can do, is if there's an item that you want, instead of just kind of willy-nilly doing it all the time and, buying some stuff, target something within that event that you want and then just go for that. And once you get it, then just drop it. Because this goes to a lot of Lumberg's stuff, his YouTube stuff that teaches players what really is good and what you don't really need. And when you learn that stuff, you can kind of target, like, I think the movie theater or the cinema is probably worth it for, depending on how much you spend on the game. But outside of that, there's not much else to that event.
Yeah, it's not the movie theater that's good. It's the which one is it?
The live house.
The live house.
No, it's the movie theater. Sorry, you're right.
Okay.
It's the
Yeah.
it's the guard.
Yeah,
that
it's like the
that
tail
will
guard.
save you a lot of troops long term.
Yeah.
No, but that makes sense. It's like concentrate on one. So if you're concentrating on officers, concentrate on officers. If you're concentrating on Titans, concentrate on that. If you're concentrating on warplanes, then concentrate on warplanes. Don't just go officers, Titans, warplanes. That's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tell new players do 50% officers, 25% Titans, warplanes, and 10% consumables and 15% equipment early on. Because officers definitely give the most bang for the buck. But then the higher you get, you really kind of need to focus in one place, unless you're just a mega whale.
Yeah, and I can't imagine for new players what it's like kind of coming up, because a new player has to build all that stuff. When I was coming up, we didn't have Titans, we didn't have a lot of stuff. And so we were able to concentrate on just equipment. Like by the time Titans came out, my equipment was already maxed, so I didn't have to put towards, equipment plus Titans plus, some of the other stuff. So being an older player helps in that respect, where I already had stuff already completely done that I didn't have to worry about it. I can't imagine what it's like now.
That's true, because at first it was just officers and equipment, and then zombies came out, and then Titans, and then warplanes. Yeah, so yeah, that is true.
Yeah, and Limerick has a really good spreadsheet on, at least from a stats perspective, where they come from and what percentage come from where. And officers for a new player are definitely the most bang for the buck.
Yeah. Oh man. So let's see. All right, we're coming up on an hour. We kind of touched on GC. Is there anything else that we wanted to touch on GC? Anybody see any questions in the chat?
We need to thank V-Time for his contribution.
Hey, V-Time,
thank you,
thanks
V-Time.
very much. And I see he's still picking on Matty D. I think V-Time might be the next. I can't remember that guy's name, but the guy that Matty D always goes up against.
Raziel.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. He's special, like extra chromosome special.
So he's what, double XY?
He what?
He's double XY?
Whatever you want to call him. I don't know. He's definitely special. And then, all of his little lackeys. Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of special people in game. We've encountered most of them.
Well, and that's the thing is I lose brain cells arguing with these people, and I can't stop. I don't know why I can't stop.
V-Time says that's the extra chromosome. Thanks a lot, V-Time. I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
I guess there is one thing, we can kind of touch on.
Okay.
So on the warplane, we finally got some people that unlocked that purple disruptor that we thought was going to be amazing. And
the disruptor EMP?
Yeah, disruptor EMP.
Yeah.
That's not me.
It absolutely exceeded expectations and is an
Oh.
absolute game changer.
God dang.
So I need to push for it then, right?
Yes, I was going to slow roll it, but after seeing it in action, it is insane.
Okay. And that's amazing, because you've pretty much did a 180. I mean, you were almost dead set against doing the warplane, right? I mean, you knew the value, but you were just kind of miffed that they released another thing like this, right?
Yeah, I was miffed. Is a good term. I wasn't not going to spend on it. I just wasn't going to go really hard. I really wanted to wait until the daily or weekly specials came out, but man, after seeing it, it is such a game changer that, depending on who you're fighting, if you're at equal level or around the equal level with somebody you're fighting and they've got that purple plane and you don't, we're talking a difference of like 150k troops. I mean, depending on which troop it targets. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I've been watching. I think it's Pool and Bleed God that first got the golem, and just watching that because it adds to your front line.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay, that's awesome. And then now seeing this disruptor, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's like I guess.
And the golems too, man. Early on,
Yeah.
it's pretty nice, but once you get about 10,000 of them dropping, it
Mm.
seems to be that as soon as they die, the next set drops, and it's crazy. But one interesting thing about the golems is in Duel of Dominance, I don't know, on Triangle, the golems only work on attack. They do not work on defense.
Interesting.
Which I guess that makes sense because you could have a C-38 sitting there with just Titans and just dropping golems and no one gets past the tower. If you have a mega whale, for instance.
No, I've seen them drop in. I've seen them drop in defense. I don't know. I can't remember which player I hit, but
No,
yeah, I
I'm
thought
talking about in Duel of Dominance
indeed.
only.
Yeah, DOD. Yeah, I hit someone. I don't know which player in 425, and yeah, I thought it was winning, and then halfway through their golems came up, and I was like, but yeah, so I died.
I have scoured battle reports, and I had somebody from another server confirm that as well. So I have not seen them drop. I'd be interested to see that battle report though.
I will take a screenshot of it and show it to you.
And then we did have one instance of a bug with them dropping where I think it was SimpleJack. You saw it drop like 100,000 of them off to the side.
Yeah, I can't remember who sent that to me. Somebody asked me about it. It was from I think it was 151. They were like, "Hey man, what's going on with this?" Because if you rewatch the battle, and I think everybody kind of who saw it was thinking it's kind of a camel glitch where there's an artifact that gets onto the battlefield, but essentially 999,000 golems get dropped, go over to the top right, and just sit there. They don't take damage, and I can't verify if like the opponent that you're facing is trying to kill that, or if they just kind of go around it or whatever. But it's definitely there. I don't know if there's an effect, but there's definitely a problem with it, and I can't explain it other than it's probably some kind of glitch that we'll see an update soon that says gameplay optimization.
All battle reports are deleted.
Yeah, all evidence is deleted. So yeah, I need to.
I think this is very good feedback on the warplane because a lot of people try to ask like, "Hey, what should I be spending on?" And it seems clear that this is something that, for the people that will spend regardless, is something they should be spending on. The golems was a game changer, I think, for a lot of people, and I can see that. So it's good feedback, Matty, that the EMP is every bit as effective as we thought it would be.
Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing.
And what does it do
as you
exactly?
level that skill, it can actually hit multiple targets. I think up to 3 at a time, which is insane.
And I will add this tidbit that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you know.
I was just adding that my plane is still low level green. Bounty just started, so I'm going to use the bounty quest to level it up. I have enough to take it to like the second green tier, but I do practice what I preach. I'm not spending it. I am going to wait, unlike Matty, who gave in for the daily packs to come in, because that to me is, I'm going to spend it. It's just a matter of when. It does me no good. I'm still going to be a weakling in the mind. Somebody's going to be stronger, so I'm okay waiting. So if you can wait.
Well, if your world is over a year old, I would say the plane is going to be the best bang for the buck on spending, just getting it to purple, because it's just so game changing.
And you give an idea for those that try and then get disillusioned. what is the approximate cost to get it to purple?
That
Oh.
I don't know for sure. I calculated it, and I don't have that number in front of me, and my mind is drawing a blank.
I think I did a little bit of math. I don't know if you can still see my screen because I had just started blue.
You've
back
spent some
then.
money on this, right? That's a pretty nice plane.
I put some money into it, but when I hit blue, I think I did some quick math in my head that to get to purple, you essentially have to buy out the store 5 times. So I think that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
whatever that is.
and you can spread that out. I mean, you can delay
Yeah,
that.
well,
for a
that's what
few
I'm
weeks.
doing. So see, I've got 5 whatever markers now. So essentially I've air quote bought out the store 2.5 times, 2.5 more times, and I'll be at purple.
Yeah, you're
Jack?
actually higher than me just because I only bought like the first pack, just to get a little bit.
Jack?
Yep.
Yeah, can you go out to your EMP disruptor?
Okay. This here?
Yeah. So that information button on the left upper corner, I've noticed that in Titans and Warplanes, those are the ones, like people are always asking which ones I need to upgrade, which ones I need to maximize first. Those are the ones that are really important.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the same thing goes with Titans. Anything with that little eye in the upper
exactly.
left is golden.
Is gold, yeah.
Okay.
So with your Titans, it's the shield, it's the girl has 2, which is your inspiration, I think, for both.
Yeah, it's
And then
Queen's Inspiration, Potent Inspiration, and then on the male it's Source Energy.
the shield. Yeah, and then with the warplanes, you have your EMP disruptor, laser disruptor, fire ammo, I think. Yeah, those ones.
Added firepower.
Yeah, so anything with anything with the information is important. That I button. Because not every skill has them, and not every not every even with the equipment with the Titans.
So that's good to know. So as you go through the tree, the first one with an I is this added firepower. The next one with an I is the added armor.
And then EMP disruptor.
Oh yeah, so nothing up until EMP disruptor.
EMP.
Interesting.
And then laser disruptor after that.
So fortify sucks, precise power. Okay.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's 4 on Warplane. There's one on the male Titan. There's 2 on the girl Titan. With the equipment, there's 1 on the girl Titan, and there's 2 on the male Titan.
Correct.
Yeah, which is Thor and I think Weaken. I'm not sure.
Correct. Thor and Weaken Energy, and then on the female, it's going to be Empress.
There we go. Yep. Yeah, those are the only ones that have that information. So for those that are always asking and always, wondering what am I going to upgrade, those are the ones that you need to upgrade. Well, yeah.
Those are the ones you need to upgrade first or prioritize.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
It's too late now, Jack, but you should have waited for the bounty quest. But that's
well, and that brings me
to another. It starts in 2 hours.
That brings me to another point
start.
Where
you could have waited to upgrade that.
That brings me to another point where
the way that it just came through. Alliance bounty.
Oh, it did?
Yep.
Oh. That brings me to one thing where Alliance bounty, that's the one where you can just buy packs, right? To get bounty?
No. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're Jack, you can just buy pack. If you're me, I just wait to save items and then use them as I need them. But yes.
The point that I was making is that, so I see people do that all the time to where they're saving up their items and not upgrading their cities because they're waiting for the the bounty so that they can get the points there. And my point is instead of doing that, why don't you save your buys that you're spending, because you're going to buy that stuff, buy it, and then upgrade it. You know what I mean? So you're kind of doubling your bounty, if that makes sense. So if you buy, you could be getting bounty on it. If you upgrade, you're getting bounty on it. But if you wait, if you buy before the bounty, but I guess one limitation to that is that you only have 2 or 3 days, or how many days? 5 days to buy everything you need.
It's too long. It's 5 days. But
Okay.
yeah, I generally do agree that you shouldn't hold off upgrading your city too much and just playing with a weaker city just for this stupid event. So I will agree. And you can easily get the 12,500 points to get the extra bounty reward. So, yep.
And it just so happens with the bounty changes, it seems like every time there's a warplane upgrade. So, so it's easy to get points just upgrading your plane.
I never get that. Who was that guy that I think Matty D, did you share somebody in your world that was getting Mother of Doom was getting 1 T of damage?
Yes, sir.
This is our world.
Our
Is that
whale,
great one?
Yeah, our whale is now hitting 1 T.
Yeah, our world doesn't even come close. I guess our top guy is 828 T. Interesting.
It's just because he has so many troops. I mean, that's all it is. Which
I've seen that before. Cool.
Let's talk about Void a little bit since Nikki's here. How do I beat 52?
I already gave you the game.
Excuse me?
You got to contact a certain alliance to do that.
Nikki, are you gonna
So first of all, you
sacrifice
just
chicken?
gotta go meet. You gotta, you go meet SS1 at their base. You sat there, wait for them to spread their legs, and just go right in. Go to town, get them free points.
So, Nikki, just so you know, a lot of us in 285 played with. They used to be SSS, right?
I don't. Who's SSS?
So I started in 24 originally, and so a bunch of us left that world. We left, before 24 merged with 52. So I know some of those players in SS1.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember. You guys were telling me that when I joined in with the little farm you gave me.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember.
Time to find those old contact information.
It's okay. I mean, it is what it is.
I told you what
you gotta
need
get
to
your
do
points somewhere, right?
I told you, Lumber, what you should do is just tell your entire nation to be able to allow everybody to fight, and that way 52 can clean up your world for you.
It has crossed my mind, but we're gonna try to fight. And I don't want to win by hitting SS1, but if they offer, we're definitely not going to say no. I mean, come on. So if there's something open, we'll take it. But no, I'm not contacting to set up something. No, we're not going to play that way.
So you're wanting one of us
Don't
to
worry,
do it
it's
for
easy.
you.
Just buy 46 cities and just defense.
Wow. Have you seen somebody do that, Nikki?
What?
That was the joke against 219.
Oh, well, I mean,
when,
I didn't know
when
if you
SS1
knew,
defended with 46 cities.
I didn't know if people were actually, because once in a while we kind of see that.
No. It's a joke. It's a joke. And nobody's, no. No, that didn't happen. Nobody bought anything.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, honk, honk, no.
Kenneth Miranda says SS1 does nothing but spread their legs.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't envy you at all, Lumber. 52 is, in my opinion, the toughest void opponent you can get. in AOO. So good luck with that, buddy.
And Himoko's going there too, right?
Yeah,
You know, for some
Himiko
odd
just
reason, we
started.
have all the TikTokers and YouTubers on our side.
I know.
I know. Woody's there, and Himiko and you, and who
Oxy's
else? Is there
there.
another? Oxy's there. Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have Himiko's original world in Void this time, so
3:30.
yes.
No, 3:30. Yep.
Yeah, she's 3:30.
Yep.
I think we're
Yeah,
getting
but don't worry,
too.
Lumber. We're gonna have a great video together.
What you're saying is basically if and when we mess up, it's going to be on every single platform by multiple content creators. Great.
Yes.
Probably.
Tick.
All it takes
Multiple-
is one time, and you're gonna get
Yeah.
a Nikki video.
It's the master plan of 52 propaganda. Because apparently I'm the main cause. I'm the main 52 propaganda to all the haters. But now we got more. We're gonna spread the news of 52.
Well-
it's gonna be on 3 channels, Lumberg. Nikki's, Woody's, and Himiko.
And maybe Oxy.
Oxy
And maybe Oxy as well, yep. Mm-hmm.
So what's your main
So,
concern
okay.
with 285 and 52? Is it just because you're newly merged, you haven't had enough time to kind of situate all the alliances yet?
I feel like you had enough time. I mean, how long ago were you merged?
I think he's just not ready to compete at that level. You know, it's a huge jump for any world to go against, 52. Like that's a scary thought for a lot of nations.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have loved to have fought 52 probably in another 2 months because we're still sorting out getting used to battle commands and all of that. Like recently merged, our alliance merged, right? So none of that's an excuse. We're still going to give it our best, and it's going to be whoever gets whoever cleans better. We're going to be busy cleaning the world. If we don't finish it, I'm sure 52 will help us clean the world when we're there. So, but yeah, we're going to try to give it our all. I just would have liked it if we fought maybe 2 months later.
And I mean, if 52 loses, that's
You never know. Anybody can win. Anybody
wouldn't
can
that
win.
be something?
I will say from what I've seen from 285 before the merge, their fighting style is very methodical and very well thought out. So it's not easy just on their alliance. It's not easy to get points off of them, but I can't speak for the rest of the world. Which that if I were you, Lumberg, that would be my main concern is, how well is everybody going to shield up? And to be honest, a newly merged world, they're still pretty attentive. There's still a lot of fat, but at least they're, kind of into the game now because they just got merged. So hopefully your guys will shield that need to, but I'm hoping your DNA that from the old 285 transferred over to the new 285.
We shall see. I will say this, that when Nikki joined us to do content against 457, I don't think we looked that good. So I'm hoping Nikki will say, "Yep, we can beat these guys easy," because I think that was a great video. You have a lot of fans in 285, Nikki, so keep that in mind when you make your content, that you don't lose those subscribers. So
what are you trying to say?
Just keep that in mind.
He's trying to bribe you. Don't kill me. We love you.
Look, I don't make y'all look bad, okay?
Oh no, you didn't. You have huge fans in 285. We still talk about your video.
I'm saying, like, when I'm against an opponent, I don't try to make him look bad. It's just, this is what I have. These are the attacks, and these are the means of what happened during that time. It's like, I'm not trying to make anybody look bad. It's just, this is what just happened.
Absolutely.
I'm not making it up.
You should do whatever you do, and people will be loving it regardless. Even if we win or lose, it doesn't matter.
For you.
you should screen record or screenshot anything that happens in the Alliance chat. Send it to me. I'll meme it. Just like I did to 255, Oracle sent me a screenshot of the guy who did not cancel the one rally.
Okay, we'll do.
You should do that for me. Just get me stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be funny.
Mm.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, anything else we want to add about GC or Void or any of the other spending events that we were just talking about? I think I'm going to wrap it up. We all good?
Think we
Yeah,
good.
we're all good. Yeah.
Good. Well, Lumber, yeah, good luck with that. I don't envy your position, and I'm sure there's going to be some good content coming out from 52 with Tamiko now there, Woody, Nikki, and Oxy. So they're the media capital of the world now. All right, guys. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for the audience. And I will close it out. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.